Hi, everyone. Okay, I think that's good volume. So my name is Michelle Gralty, and I work for the Nature Conservancy's Reef Resilience Network. And to save time, I'll just go ahead and skip over my title there. So, for more than 16 years, the Reef Resilience Network has served as a global leader in building the capacity of marine managers and practitioners to effectively manage, protect, and restore coral reefs threatened by both local and global stressors. So, that's anything from warming seas to pollution. Let's see how I move that there. And so the network is a partnership between the Nature Conservancy and NOAA's Coral Reef Conservation Program and many other partners. And so we work with managers all over the world. And so to help build their capacity, what does that really mean? So that translates to synthesizing and sharing the latest science and management strategies. Managers are quite busy, so we're trying to get the info to them in digestible bits and keep them inspired. And then we also support managers to apply new tools and concepts to their management programs, kind of sometimes acting in a consulting role. And then we also connect managers with both experts and their peers to foster information and knowledge exchange. And since 2005, we've reached over 36,000 managers and practitioners in 85% of the countries and territories with coral reefs. So we're really excited that that number continues to grow. Our online toolkit, reefresilience.org, houses most of our resources, which have been created and updated by global experts. So the toolkit has synthesized info on key topics, a few of which are displayed here. And if you click on restoration, it'll take you to our restoration toolkit, which was developed with a host of experts, some of the logos you can see here, and the restoration toolkit in particular was freshly updated in 2022. So when you click on the introduction there, that introduction is defining restoration as well as proactive versus reactive restoration, along with a brief overview of different intervention types. And then in the project planning section, you can find information about sustainable financing and the link to a very special product that can be yours for free, the Manager's Guide to Coral Reef Restoration Planning and Design. So some of these are around the table. I do have these in the back here today, and you can also come meet me and get one, and I'll even sign it for you. No, just kidding. But when we were developing restoration resources for managers a couple years ago, we realized that there was a gap specifically on restoration planning. So you might think, okay, we know we want to put corals out there, but this guide helps you kind of think more about your objectives for restoration and specifically how you can achieve those. So I'll briefly talk through some of the concepts in the guide. So it's structured around a 6-step process that also considers climate change adaptation and is meant to be flexible. So that means it can be tailored to people who are just starting out to restoration, as well as those who already have a project or program underway. And so currently the first 4 steps in the guide here, those are the ones in blue. Once you complete those, you would have a completed restoration action plan. But what good is a guide if you can't use it? So the manager's guide has already been out and about, out in action. And so I just wanted to share a couple of real world examples with you all. So we worked with the TNC Africa program in Kenya and Tanzania to support local community groups develop restoration plans there. So you might have seen Juliet's talk earlier today from, I believe, the Kenya Marine Fisheries Institute. And then over the past 2 years, we've also been working with the U.S. Coral reef jurisdictions in the Pacific, so Hawaii, Guam, American Samoa, and the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, and their plans are nearly complete, which is exciting. And then over here, where we are currently, we're also using the plan in Florida to develop a statewide restoration action plan, and work is currently happening in the U.S. Virgin Islands as well. And if you're in the audience and you've used the guide, please come meet me. I'd love to hear more about your work. Now, jumping back into the toolkit, we have the coral propagation section where you can find info about field-based and land-based nurseries, as well as larval-based coral propagation and outplanting. But when it comes to reef restoration, sometimes it's not just the corals we're talking about. If natural reef structures are becoming damaged or degraded or unsuitable for coral larval settlement, then it might be time to consider restoring the reef substrate. So this section of the toolkit links to a guidance document for reef management and restoration to improve coastal protection, which includes examples from Mexico. And again, for other cases, sometimes an acute event like a vessel grounding or a big storm could trigger a restoration response. So here you can find the early warning and rapid response protocol for restoration developed by TNC Mexico's Kalina Zepeda, and she's also been presenting today. And that outlines 6 steps that responders can take to both assess and later restore a damaged area. And sometimes these considerations that are applied to coral reef conservation can also be applied to seagrass and mangrove restoration. So here we included some key issues and considerations for restoration of these ecosystems as well. And last but certainly not least is the monitoring section. So we've got that CRC monitoring working group guide here, and I think on this page as well is where we have that reef habilitation website linked. It's not on this one, it's on one of these other pages in the toolkit. And again, come up in me and get a big ol' high five and a hug if you've taken our coral reef restoration online course. So all of our courses offered through the Reef Resilience Network are free. You get an online course, and you get an online course. And this one was first written in 2019, but it was updated in 2022, and it's now available in both English and Spanish, and you can take it at your own pace. So you can start it tomorrow, you can forget about it for 2 months and come back to it. No one's gonna know, except for me, because I can look in the system, but you can take it at your own pace. And so we also plan to update this course in the future too, because as you know, the field of restoration is always evolving. So that first lesson there, Intro to Coral Reef Restoration and Project Planning, that has new content, along with restoring physical reef structure and monitoring for coral reef restoration. And we have an entirely new lesson with that land-based coral nurseries, lesson number 4. And so the network also hosts a series of webinars, both on coral restoration and other topics, with experts around the world to share out info. So if you go to our webinars page and you type in restoration, you'll see all the different restoration-related webinars that we've done with the CRC and other partners. And all of these recordings, you can get them here on our website, or you can just search Reef Resilience Network on YouTube. We also have a database of searchable case studies. So again, you can type in restoration, you can go by topic, you can go by location to explore real-world management strategies from across the globe. And so these case studies provide concise overviews, so it outlines the reef challenge, how it was addressed, how successful the efforts were, and lessons learned. And if you have an idea for a case study that you would like to share with us, we're always all ears. And our case study database was also recently updated a couple months ago, so a lot of them have been refreshed, and we added some new ones. And then you might have heard Tom the other day talking about reading scientific papers. Sometimes it's really fun, sometimes it takes a really long time. So we try to provide article summaries on our website. Usually the summary is just a paragraph, and we try to pull out the key points that are relevant to managers. So sometimes that whole 20-page paper, it's hard to tease out the management recommendations from that. So that's what we try to do with these article summaries. So here are all the different restoration resources that I talked through today. And if you have any papers that you want us to add to that article summary database or case studies, or you have a webinar idea, please come up and talk to us. Please take the course. Tell your mom to take the course. It's really fun. Sometimes parents take the course. They're like, wow, so many pretty coral pictures. I learned a lot. They can take the Reef Resilience course. It's a fun time. So that QR code will take you to all the resources. And if you want a guide, you can grab one from me, and they're in the back. And I think I have time for questions.